Intelligence is not academic achievement. It is not titles, status, or the ability to control everything perfectly. Intelligence, according to Jung, is an inward journey. It is the process of peeling away the masks society has imposed on you to return to the authentic self within. It does not come from always being right, but from having the courage to face your mistakes, your fears, and the shadow you often avoid. And to do this, you cannot merely follow external formulas. You must listen to the voice within, recognize the psychological patterns that have governed you for too long, and learn to transcend them. In this journey, I will share with you 9 key principles, not only to help you become a wiser woman, but also to guide you step by step toward individuation. Understanding yourself, accepting yourself, and living as a whole being. And perhaps, you may not like everything I reveal, but if you are brave enough to keep reading, I promise you one thing. You will not be the same woman after completing these 9 principles. Are you ready? Principle 1. Awakening the shadow. If your mind is a stage and you are the lead actress, the shadow is another character standing in the wings. It has no lines, yet it silently rewrites the script at the last moment. You step out, smile, behave properly, but your hands tremble. Your heart races when someone praises another. You feel anger at being overlooked, and you don't understand why. The shadow is not a demon, not something evil. It is the part excluded from your starring role. Everything that doesn't fit the image of the good woman you were taught to be, praised for being, you hide backstage. The shadow is the part you dare not bring into the light, yet it exists, and sometimes it takes over the performance. The shadow doesn't arrive like a storm. It's so subtle you might think you're just overreacting, but in truth, it's the echo of behavior. When you don't name your wounds, they speak for you through defensiveness, avoidance, or veiled aggression. The shadow is not something you can heal and discard. It is a part of you, like night is part of a day. A wise woman learns to live with her shadow, not fight it. She learns to listen to her dreams, keep an inner journal, trace her emotions, and notice her body's reactions, as if decoding an ancient language. The more she understands her shadow, the more power she holds over herself. The shadow is also the source of the most potent creative energy. The greatest artists, revolutionaries, and powerful souls have all walked through their shadows. There is no depth if you only live on the surface. There is no true light if you've never stood in the dark. A wise woman doesn't chase artificial light. She delves into the shadow to find the true light, the light that shines from within her. Awakening the shadow is not a training program. It's a silent agreement with yourself. From now on, I will not turn away from the parts I don't want to see. From now on, I will view the shadow not as an enemy, but as a signal, a radar. An internal warning system sends me the pieces I need to collect to become myself. Principle 2. Trust your intuition. But not everything from the shadow is a threat. Some whispers come from a deeper, quieter, and strangely more mysterious place. If the shadow is the hidden face of the soul, intuition is the formless voice of your true self, the whole and transcendent part that Carl Jung saw as the center of the entire individuation journey. Intuition doesn't shout, it doesn't explain, it doesn't offer evidence. It appears like a gentle touch, as if someone softly pulls you out of the crowd, turning your head in a completely different direction you can't explain but feel is right. You might call it a hunch. But for Jung, intuition is an independent psychological function, equal to thinking, feeling, and sensation. The problem is, in the modern world, we've starved our intuition for too long. A wise woman doesn't just analyze and respond logically. She also listens to unarticulated signals, the subtle vibrations in her mind, the cues that defy logic yet are strangely accurate. Jung described intuition as perception via the unconscious, the ability to sense what's coming before it takes shape, like a bird sensing rain from hundreds of miles away before the storm arrives. Have you ever entered a room and instantly felt a chill, despite everything seeming normal? Met someone and knew within seconds that something was off? Prepared to make a decision, with every reason to act, but something deep inside held you back? That's not instinct. That's intuition, your inner warning system, directly connected to the unconscious, bypassing both will and conscious thought. Carl Jung once said, "Intuition does not denote something contrary to reason, but something outside of the province of reason." Intuition is the rough blueprint the self sends you, before the world assembles it into reality. However, not every inner voice is intuition. Intuition never shouts, panics, or urges. If you hear a voice that's frantic, tense, or fearful, it might be your ego, fear disguised as a feeling. Intuition is different. It arrives like pale gray light, breaking through fog, unpressured, unhurried but weighty. A wise woman learns to distinguish between the voice of intuition and the echo of fear, and she chooses what to heed. Intuition is not a mystical sixth sense. It's the result of a mind connected deeply enough, clearly enough, quietly enough to the unconscious to receive its signals. To trust your intuition, you must slow down, learn to observe your inner life as a universe with its order. You must let go of the obsession with being certain or being right to make space for what's not yet clear to take form. The wiser a woman becomes, the less she rushes to decide. She lets intuition speak first, then uses reason to verify, not the other way around. Jung called this the balance between the inner and outer worlds, between logic and depth, where intuition acts as the mediator between consciousness and the unconscious. And most wonderfully, Intuition doesn't just steer you away from danger. It guides you toward the most beautiful things. True love, the right path, the perfect moment. It's like background music, not loud, but it changes how you experience the entire film. Trusting intuition is learning to live with a perception finer than words. Not everyone hears intuition's call, but every woman possesses it. It's part of your spiritual inheritance, a red thread connecting you to something greater than yourself. And if you learn to listen, it will lead you further than any pre-drawn map. So, what about you? If you've ever known something before logic could speak, share that moment, and let's unfold the map of collective intuition together. Principle 3. Cultivate emotional intelligence. If intuition is the breeze blowing from the unseen, emotions are the first waves touching the shore of your mind. And like all waves, they can be soothing or sweep you away if you don't know where to stand. Intuition whispers, but emotions roar. They don't wait for you to be ready. Emotions are the rawest material of your mental life. They arrive before thoughts, command your behavior, and if left unconscious, it's the outer garment of a deeper wound. Feeling offended often stems from an unmet need for recognition. Through this inner tracing, you cease to be a puppet of your emotions and become their decoder, unraveling a neural code that demands understanding. Emotional intelligence is also the ability to sense others' emotions without merging into them. A woman with weak inner boundaries will feel for others, hurting for them, carrying their emotional weight as if it were her own. A wise woman is different. She sets soft boundaries between empathy and absorption. She listens not to save, but to understand. She lets others take responsibility for their emotions because she knows it's essential to their growth. For Jung, psychological maturity cannot occur without the ability to observe yourself while reacting. You can love, rage, or hurt, but you don't let those emotions pull you away from yourself. Jung saw this as the first step in individuation, separating yourself from your emotions to see yourself more clearly in their reflective mirror. Each emotion is a mirror, A wise woman doesn't shatter it. She studies it to discern what stirs within her mind. And most importantly, emotional intelligence is a skill, not an innate trait. It's forged each time you pause amid an impulse. Each time you choose to exhale instead of retort. Every such moment proves to yourself that you're awake enough not to be ruled by the storm within. Principle 4. Establishing boundaries. Emotions are the inner stream of water, but to keep that stream pure, you need embankments. Without boundaries, everything spills over, drowning you and turning empathy into exhaustion, connection into dissolution. So, after learning to observe your emotions, a wise woman takes another step, drawing the line between herself and the world, not to isolate, but to preserve. Carl Jung didn't directly define boundaries, but his entire concept of individuation, the journey to become your true self, implies a prerequisite. You must know where you end and where others begin. To know this, you need boundaries, like the skin encasing a body, or the shell protecting a sprouting seed. Without boundaries, your essence is invaded, and you remain a reaction to others rather than yourself. You don't need to build walls to be safe, but you must recognize your territory and where others encroach, whether through actions cloaked in love, expectations, or good intentions. Someone who loves you can still suffocate you. Someone close can still manipulate you if you don't know how to stand on your ground. Jung believed we're all swept into collective roles: the good daughter, the dutiful wife, the reasonable woman. The longer you play these roles, the further you drift from yourself. Boundaries are the pause, the moment you pull your energy back from the role and ask, what do I truly want? Setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's a sacred ritual to affirm your existence, separate from others' expectations. Many live in a state of chronic exhaustion without knowing why. They work hard, act kindly, are always there for others, yet their bodies tire, their minds burn out, and their spirits feel empty. This isn't just work pressure, it's burnout, caused by giving too much without an inner fence to protect yourself. Failing to say no, failing to set limits, is the shortest path to depletion. If you feel exhausted without understanding why, take a quiet moment. Breathe slowly. Pause for 3 minutes and ask yourself, am I living for what I believe in today or for what others need? A wise woman doesn't feel guilty for setting boundaries. She knows where there are no boundaries, there is no respect. And the first respect is for herself. When she needs to say no, she does so with groundedness, not tension. When she needs to limit a relationship, she does so not out of hatred, but out of enough self-love to not stay where she shrinks day by day. Boundaries don't kill connection. They make relationships more mature, because when you stand clearly on your ground, others must approach you with respect rather than habitual encroachment. And you too, when you understand boundaries, stop blaming, stop demanding others save you, stop over-sacrificing, then resenting. You become emotionally mature, standing beside others, not dissolving into them. And ultimately, when you know where you end, when you dare to protect what's sacred within you with a firm no, you don't just become stronger, you become clear. In a world blurred by expectations and roles, a clear woman makes the world pause to listen. At this point, we've reached the halfway mark of today's lessons. Your presence is a great encouragement for us in our journey to bring the authentic values of Jung's philosophy to more people. So please like and share this video to spread these lessons to your loved ones and friends. Or leave a comment saying, "I cherish my life," if you're ready for the journey with the next 5 lessons. Principle 5. Financial independence. Once you've built your mental boundaries, the next thing to protect is your ability to choose. And at this point, nothing is more practical or more sensitive than money. In its material form, money is a tool for exchange, survival, and livelihood. But in the depths of psychology, money is a symbol of personal power, the energy you use to exist in the real world while staying true to your inner world. From a young age, protecting your essence from being wounded by circumstance. Jung didn't discuss finance in economic terms, but he emphasized inner wholeness, possible only when the ego is strong enough not to be manipulated by survival fears. In the real world, those fears take concrete forms. What if I lose my job? What if no one takes care of me? What if I have no one to rely on? These questions aren't wrong, but a wise woman doesn't let them become reasons to trade her freedom. Financial independence doesn't mean you must become a millionaire. It means knowing where your money goes, understanding how to spend, save, and most importantly, how to keep money from controlling your emotions or defining who you are. Money doesn't have to be a burden. It can be an ally if you learn to see it as part of your psychological system, not something out of reach. If this message resonates with something inside you, please hit like to fuel more of this meaningful content and subscribe to not miss any part of this journey toward your true self. There's a subtle truth few mention. Many women fear having money because they fear losing their reason to be loved. Traditional society programs the idea that a fragile woman inspires men to protect. But a wise woman knows love shouldn't be built on lack. She wants love for companionship and sharing, not for survival. And that's only possible when she can stand on her own, emotionally and financially. Picture financial independence as an invisible atmosphere around your planet. Without it, you can't breathe to your rhythm. You'd live in fear of losing support, status, or a backer, and you'd no longer be the center of your own life. A wise woman doesn't wait for luck to find her. She learns about money like she learns about herself. Every dollar, every choice, every priority reflects her inner values. She doesn't spend to prove anything to the world. And she invests, not just for the future, but for present freedom. The freedom to act, to leave, to choose again if needed. Money doesn't make you stronger, but if you understand how to use it as a tool for autonomy, you'll never again live in fear of being conditioned. Principle 6. Learning to fail. Financial freedom grants you the power to choose, but no matter how well you prepare, life will sometimes unfold differently than planned. A contract may collapse at the last moment. An investment may turn into a loss. A love that seemed certain may dissolve into thin air. There will be times when you do everything right, yet the outcome is wrong. And that's when you face something no one wants to touch. Failure. A wise woman isn't someone who has never failed, but someone who doesn't let failure become her identity. Carl Jung called this the death of the ego, when the self that thought it knew everything must crumble to open the door for a deeper essence to emerge. In depth psychology, failure isn't merely loss, it's a cleansing ritual for the ego, a moment when the universe strips away layers no longer fitting, allowing you to become something truer. Failure has a distinct sound. It's quiet, heavy, like a door closing within your mind. Jung wrote, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain. True growth always involves a fall. No one steps into their depth without a collapse. The old ego must shatter. Illusions of omnipotence must dissolve. And if you dare to linger in the rubble just a little longer, you'll see, beneath the gray dust, a new self is slowly taking shape. Gradual, painful, but real. Failure doesn't make you worthless. It only kills the version of yourself you thought was singular, like a snake shedding its skin, like a seed rotting before it sprouts. But the problem is, in this society, we're programmed to tie our worth to achievements, so each failure feels not just like losing an opportunity, but losing our identity. A wise woman learns to separate the two. She falls, but she doesn't define herself by the fall. Failure is a form of living shadow, as Jung might describe it. It's not just a mistake. It's a moment when the shadow rises to the surface, forcing you to confront your limits. You'll see yourself angry, envious, broken, wanting to give up. But this is the golden opportunity to make the darkness conscious, as Jung said. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. One of the most dangerous illusions is believing that success proves your worth. Number. Success only proves you are aligned with circumstances. Failure is where you see who you truly are when no one applauds. It's where character is tested, where beliefs are dissected, where the self is reborn. If you resist failure, deny it, or flee from it, you'll only learn bitterness. But if you sit with it, breathe through it, write about it, reflect on it like a rough mirror, you'll emerge with a different gaze. The gaze of someone who has died once and chosen to live again, more authentically. Failure isn't just a test for you, it's a silent test for those around you when your spotlight fades. Who stays when you're no longer winning? Who quietly lifts you without needing you to prove anything? And who leaves when you're no longer their source of value? And you, after all, are you clinging to an old belief that no longer fits your new journey? Write it down as a conscious closing ritual. Write down an old belief you're ready to release. A wise woman doesn't hold on to those who leave when she falls. She understands that those who come only when she shines don't belong to her when she's reborn. Love the same way, and wonder why everything repeats. A woman who never stops learning is different. She isn't afraid to be wrong, because she knows every mistake is data, a signpost for what needs updating within her. True learning doesn't happen in classrooms or neatly stacked books. It happens in every moment. When you choose silence to hear something you once resisted. When you reread yourself with a new, unguarded gaze. Learning is dismantling an old belief without needing anyone to prove it wrong. Jung called this the process of assimilating and integrating new experiences into a deeper self. The wiser a woman becomes, the less she thinks she knows enough. She knows the self is always shifting, and the only thing keeping her from falling behind is a state of constant learning, not from external knowledge, but from her own inner life. True learning doesn't make you better. It makes you less harsh, less certain, less quick to label everything. It pulls you out of the subtle complacency of, "I already know," and places you in the sacred territory of questions, where every unknown becomes a chance to expand your inner world. A wise woman doesn't learn to outshine others. She learns to master herself. She learns to update her boundaries, refresh her way of loving, adjust her reactions, and discern what's false and what's true. Most importantly, she learns to avoid being conditioned by her outdated self. The more mature a woman becomes, the less ambitiously she learns. She learns like someone listening for signals, from a casual conversation, a dream, a recent anger, a quiet moment after loss. She learns like a woodcarver, each stroke drawn from the living material of herself. Has something recently made you relearn yourself? A moment, something that forced you to pause and ask, "Am I living as an outdated version of myself?" If so, share a few lines, not just for yourself, but for others quietly seeking answers in their journeys. As Jung said, enlightenment comes not from what you know, but from the courage to stand before what you don't understand and enter it unguarded. A woman who never stops learning remains pliable, adaptable, bendable, but not breakable, because she knows, if she doesn't learn, she'll repeat. But when she learns, every wound can become a window. Each time you learn something new, whether knowledge, a new perspective, or a hard-to-swallow truth, you open another room in the house of yourself. And over time, that house doesn't need to be grand. It just needs to be bright and real enough for you to dwell in it wholly. Principle 8. Stop seeking approval. Continuous learning shifts how you see. But to truly live by what you've understood, you need a bolder step. Stop living for others' eyes. That's when you cease seeking approval. Carl Jung called the mask we wear in society the persona, a constructed self designed to adapt, to be accepted, to avoid exclusion. The problem is, if you live too long in the persona, you start believing it's your true self. You bend to fit others' expectations until you no longer recognize your true voice. Imagine a woman in a meeting. Her idea could open a new path for the project. She knows it. But when the team leader's eyes turn to her, the first thing that surfaces isn't her idea, but a subtle wave in her mind. What if they think I'm too ambitious? What if they judge me? So she stays silent. She nods with the majority. She smiles, though a storm rages inside. Approval, if you're not mindful, becomes a spiritual narcotic. At first, you need a compliment. Then you do more to earn a nod. Gradually, you're addicted to the feeling of being recognized, as if it's oxygen, and you lose the ability to value yourself without external validation. Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But you cannot become yourself if you're still running on the operating system of how to be loved. To return to your true self, you must dare to risk not being loved, not being understood, even being misjudged, yet not losing yourself. A woman who stops seeking approval doesn't become cold. On the contrary, she becomes warmly authentic. When she no longer needs to perform, her actions come from true intent, not a desire to score points. She stops saying what should be said, laughing on cue, or nodding to avoid awkwardness. She pauses mid-conversation if she feels herself slipping into performance mode. Most importantly, she knows that only when she allows herself to be herself does true respect begin to form. When you live too long in the persona without connecting to your true self, you fall into what Jung called ego disorientation. You no longer know what you truly want, like, or believe. You only know what will please others. A wise woman sees this danger. She knows nothing makes you lose yourself faster than always trying to please others. Letting go of the need for approval is a return to your inner moral center. Instead of asking, "What will others think?" you start asking, "Will I still respect myself if I do this?" That's when your inner power begins to take shape. True approval, when you stop seeking it, often comes quietly and more profoundly. Others sense you don't need validation, and that makes you more trustworthy than ever. You don't need to prove. You don't need to seem. And you certainly don't need to live in the invisible hunger of, "How do I get someone to say I'm good enough?" When you no longer need anyone to give you value, you begin to live like an unconfined stream, a pulse that doesn't need to sync with any other drum. You still listen, remain soft, but you don't trade your essence for others' comfort. Principle 9. Awakening the self. When you stop living for applause, stop confining yourself to the image others expect, a new space begins to open within you. A strange stillness. As if for the first time you hear your heart beat, without needing anyone to remind you it's still alive. That moment, Jung called it the awakening of the self. Unlike the ego, which seeks to control, compete, and come out on top, the self doesn't need to prove anything. It only asks you to turn inward, honestly. If the ego is the one holding the flashlight in the dark, the self is the flame within that light, smoldering, enduring, shining only when you're still enough not to extinguish it with fear or expectations. Carl Jung defined the self as the regulating center of the entire personality, both the whole and something transcending the ego. In other words, it's you, unconditioned, unshackled by others' definitions of who I should be. It's the whole self, full of contradictions yet unified, cracked yet radiant in its unique way. The self isn't a destination you reach and settle into forever. It's like an underground river flowing beneath your consciousness, always there, but only visible when you're brave enough to shed hardened layers of skin, decayed layers of ego, and heavy masks. Each time you pass through a shadow, each time you don't let anger speak for you, each time you stand in uncertainty without shrinking, you come a little closer to the self. You may not recognize that moment immediately. It's not like a ringing bell or a beam of light through your forehead. It comes in a distinct silence. One day, when you look in the mirror after a difficult decision, instead of doubt, you feel something settle in your eyes, a peace not from victory, but from inner honesty. That's when the self is looking back at you. In psychological terms, the self is the deepest operating system, where the personal and collective unconscious intersect, where all archetypes, the mother, the lover, the rebel, the sage, are consciously and selectively integrated. When the self awakens, you're no longer trapped in a single form of ego, but become fluid. When you need to be firm, you can be firm without hardening. When you need to be soft, you can be soft without breaking. And because the self is your whole essence, you begin to live to a different rhythm, not chasing success, but truth. Not living for more, but for deeper. You start speaking less, listening more carefully, choosing more deliberately, and most importantly, respecting yourself more. Not because you need to maintain an image, but because you truly understand who you are and what's no longer worth trading yourself for. Awakening the self doesn't make your life easier, but it makes it harder to control. You may be challenged, misunderstood, and rejected, but you won't be shaken from the inner axis you've firmly built. And that doesn't create a perfect woman. It creates a free woman. Carl Jung didn't teach you how to be accomplished or loved. He guided you back to a deeper self, the whole essence, where light and shadow are invited to sit together at the same table. And if there's anything worth pursuing for a lifetime, it's the truth of who you are. You don't need to understand everything today. Just hold on to a piece that makes you see yourself. Save this video if you want to return to it when you need more courage. You've made it this far, which means you're brave enough to begin. Keep the fire alive for the journey ahead, because the deepest things never come from haste. And if you find this journey worth sharing, pass it on to the woman you believe deserves to return to herself. Have you ever wondered why, in the same chaotic world, some people are constantly tense, exhausted, entangled in countless troubles, while others walk lightly, calmly, as if nothing could disturb them? Why are there those who, even under pressure, still manage to smile, who remain serene amid storms, And it is precisely that serenity that makes them strangely captivating. The answer does not lie in their luck of having fewer problems, but in the fact that they have mastered a profound art, the art of not letting themselves be dragged into disturbances. It is not about pretending to be strong, nor about being numb. It is the ability to return to one's inner roots, to clearly see one's own reactions, and from there to turn every clash, every challenge, even every seemingly unpleasant incident into material for growth. In today's video, we will explore 7 subtle principles based on Carl Jung's ideas. Principles that can help you act as if nothing bothers you, not by avoiding reality, but by transforming reality itself into the foundation for your freedom, strength, and resilience. Are you ready to embark on this journey? Number 1. Understand the root. It's not the circumstances, but the inner reaction. Have you ever noticed that in the same situation people react very differently? A teasing remark might make one person angry, but only make another laugh. A long meeting may drain some while energizing others. This reveals a simple truth that few want to accept. What makes us disturbed does not come from the outside. It lies in our internal reactions. Carl Jung once emphasized, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. The outer world is merely a mirror reflecting the inner world. What others say or do, whatever events happen, all are just sparks hitting the inner mirror. And the shape of our inner world determines how we perceive those sparks. If inside you are full of unhealed wounds, even the slightest touch will hurt. But if within you lies peace, then even a major event can be received with calmness. Think of a wound on the body. When your skin is healthy, a touch means nothing. But if there's a cut, even a light touch causes sharp pain. Disturbances work the same way. They strike the wounds of the soul that have not yet healed, and the pain rises from within, not from the objective action outside. For example, when a colleague says, "You look tired lately." If deep down you already feel insecure about being weak, that comment will hit your fear and wound you. But if you are confident and self-loving, you can simply smile and respond, "Yes, I worked a bit much yesterday, but it's fine. Thank you for caring." The outer world did not change, only the inner reaction did. Jung called these sensitive spots the shadow, the parts we deny, repress, or are not ready to face. When others, intentionally or not, touch them, the shadow rises and lashes out. That is why, if you truly want to act as if nothing bothers you, you must first look at the root. What shadows inside are making you so vulnerable? A young woman once shared with the channel that whenever her boyfriend didn't reply immediately, she became anxious, imagining he was bored with her or had someone else. She constantly checked her phone, sulked, then reproached him. Through therapy, she discovered the root wasn't him at all. It was the childhood wound of being abandoned by her father. Silence was only a mirror reflecting back her old fear. Only by healing that wound could she finally learn to smile, busy herself with her own life, and no longer be obsessed with a few minutes of silence. Jung stressed that instead of trying to change the world, we must learn to observe and heal ourselves. The world is neutral. It merely amplifies what we carry inside. If you hold much anger, you will see an annoying world. If you carry insecurity, you will feel judged everywhere. But if you nurture peace, even challenges become part of your growth. That is why some live calmly in chaos, while others are restless even in quiet places. Peace or disturbance does not come from outside spaces, but from inner states. Understanding this root brings a liberating truth. You don't need to change anyone. You don't need to control circumstances. Just turn inward, listen, and heal, and you will already be far less disturbed. Interestingly, understanding this root doesn't make you insensitive. On the contrary, it makes you kinder and more compassionate. When you see someone overreact, you realize it is their shadow tormenting them, not because you are truly wrong. Thus you can empathize instead of counter-attacking. When you walk Jung's path, you realize living as if nothing bothers you doesn't mean forcing yourself to smile while in pain, nor pretending to be strong. It means facing the cause, recognizing the shadows inside, and from there, no longer letting circumstances control your emotions so easily. And in the very moment you understand this root, you lay the foundation for a deep freedom. Freedom from being manipulated by others' words, actions, or attitudes. Freedom to choose your reaction instead of being ruled by the unconscious shadow. Number 2, observe emotions instead of reacting immediately. Understanding that disturbances come not from circumstances, but from inner reactions, is not enough. Because even if you know that irritation comes from your shadow, instincts may still push you to snap back, argue, or escape. So what's the next step? Learning to observe emotions instead of reacting immediately. Carl Jung once wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." If you cannot see and name your emotions, they will control you from the shadows. But with just one pause, 1 second of observation, you step out of that unconscious control. Think back to the last time you were angry. Perhaps in the morning, stuck in traffic, someone cut you off. Immediately your blood boiled, your heart raced, your grip on the wheel tightened. If instinct ruled, you would have honked loudly or shouted. But if at that moment you took one deep breath and observed yourself, noticing your racing heart, your flushed face, a distance appeared. That distance was enough to remind you, this is just a passing feeling, not my essence. And in observing, anger lost half its power. Observing emotions is like sitting in a cinema. On screen, intense action scenes may make you tense, but you know you are just a spectator. In real life, we often forget this and fully enter the role whenever emotions arise, leading us from angry words to regrettable actions. Jung's practice invites us back to the spectator's seat. Observe, don't get lost in the role. I once knew a successful woman who was easily irritable. Just one typo in an employee's email, and she would publicly scold them. Later, during a meditation retreat, she was taught to pause 3 seconds before reacting. Those 3 seemingly short seconds changed her life. In that gap, she noticed the irritation rising, heard the inner voice wanting to assert control, and chose silence instead. No more sudden outbursts. Her relationships improved, and she herself felt lighter. Observing emotions doesn't mean suppressing or pretending not to feel. On the contrary, it means honesty, daring to look at anger or fear as they emerge. You don't lie and say, "I'm fine," but you don't let instinct rule either. You simply acknowledge, "I'm angry," or "I'm anxious." Naming it may sound simple, but it is the most crucial step to escape the unconscious loop. In Jungian psychology, Observing emotions is also a way to dialogue with the unconscious. Each time you sit with anger or anxiety, you allow the shadow inside to speak. That anger may not just be about the driver who cut you off, but about a lifelong sense of being disrespected. That anxiety may not just be about one critical email, but about past painful memories of harsh criticism. By observing instead of reacting, you open a door to deeper self-understanding. Gradually, you notice a gap between me and my emotions. Before, we said, "I am angry, I am sad," as if emotions were our identity. But with observation, you begin to say, "I notice anger arising in me." This subtle shift brings immense freedom. You are no longer a slave to emotions. You are their witness. Try applying this in life. When someone says something harsh, instead of snapping back, pause and observe, "What am I feeling? My chest is tightening, my heart racing. Ah, this is anger." Just naming it reduces its grip. When anxiety comes, instead of smothering it with work or scrolling your phone, sit down and whisper, "I see this anxiety." Just that, and it softens. Over time, you will transform. Things that once provoked anger or sadness will lose their hold. People remain the same, the world remains the same, but you have changed. And it is this change that allows you to act as if nothing bothers you, not because life is easier, but because you know how to observe and master your reactions. Once you've learned to observe instead of react, you begin to build an inner safe space. But for that safety to become enduring strength, you need another element: silence. And that is the journey we will explore in the next part. How many people, out of 100, do you think truly pause to observe their emotions before reacting, instead of letting instinct take over? Share your guess in the comments, and let's see what others think. Number 3. Nurture inner silence. Once you know how to pause to observe emotions, you realize observation alone is not enough. Like someone standing on the shore watching a raging river without solid ground to anchor, they can still be swept away. That solid ground is inner silence, returning to breath, stillness, and presence in the body. It is this silence that lets you truly act as if nothing bothers you. Carl Jung believed, "In all chaos there is a cosmos, in all disorder a secret order. Amid life's chaos there is always a hidden order awaiting you, not outside, but deep within. To touch it, you must learn silence. Only in silence can the unconscious speak." Practicing silence doesn't mean leaving the world or hiding in mountains. It begins with small things. Turning off your phone 10 minutes before bed, sitting in a park, listening to birds, or simply closing your eyes for a few seconds before replying to a difficult message. In those moments, you remind yourself, not everything requires a reaction. Sometimes silence is the strongest way to show that nothing disturbs you. Jung emphasized that the unconscious always tries to whisper to us through dreams, intuitions, fleeting emotions. But amid life's noise, those whispers are drowned. Only when you nurture silence can you hear them, perhaps an intuition saving you from rash choices, or a dream revealing what you've avoided facing. Imagine entering a room filled with loud music. Even if a gentle melody plays, you won't hear it. But when the room falls silent, one note alone can move you. The inner world is the same. Only in silence can you hear your deepest melody. And once you've heard it, external noise no longer rattles you the same way. I once heard the story of a businesswoman during Jungian therapy. Her days were packed with meetings and emails. Yet every morning, she spent 15 minutes in silence with her cup of tea. No phone, no words. "That's the only time in the day I am truly myself," she said. Because of that, despite the pressure, she remained calm and clear. For her, silence was the shield that kept disturbances at bay. Nurturing inner silence is also a way to reconnect with the body. Many live all day in their heads, thinking, calculating, worrying, forgetting the body is the safest anchor. When you focus on breath or feel your feet on the ground, you return to the present. In the present, there is no past to regret, no future to fear, only life unfolding. At first, practicing silence may be hard. The mind races, you feel you're wasting time. But with patience, your silence muscle strengthens. One day, just a few breaths will restore peace even in tense situations. Interestingly, silence doesn't make you cold, it makes you more present. In silence, you listen deeply, empathize more. You don't need to prove anything, and this quietness makes others feel safe, even mysteriously drawn to you. Many think power lies in loud words or bold actions, but often the most respected strength is silence. Jung once wrote, "Solitude is for me a fount of healing which makes my life worth living." In silence, we rediscover healing, and that healing makes us less disturbed, less shaken. One day you will realize things that once made you anxious or tense no longer seem threatening. You don't need quick reactions because you have a place to return to, your inner silence. And that silence becomes the foundation for acting as if nothing bothers you, not because life is easier, but because you've found the root of peace. Number 4, separate yourself from others' judgments. Inner silence gives you a refuge, but if you remain dependent on external opinions, you can still be disturbed. Often, what unsettles us isn't the event itself, but others' judgments. To truly act as if nothing bothers you, you must take one more step. Separate yourself from others' judgments. Carl Jung emphasized that much human anxiety comes from not daring to live as the true self, but wearing the persona to gain acceptance. When we care too much about others' views, every judgment becomes a dagger piercing the mask. But when we courageously remove the mask and stand firm in our essence, we realize judgment is only an echo. It cannot define us. Think of the last time you made a choice others disagreed with. Maybe you skipped a party to rest, and friends called you distant. Or chose a less prestigious job, and family called you unambitious. Those words may haunt you, making you want to explain or prove yourself. But the more you explain, the more trapped you become in judgment's snare. Only when you step aside, seeing it as their lens, not your truth, do you find freedom. I recall a young woman who quit a stable office job to pursue art. Her family opposed, calling her naive, reckless, bound to regret it. At first she felt heavy, explaining she had clear plans, that art could build a career. But the more she explained, the more energy she lost, and the more she doubted herself. Only when she focused on creating did she realize what mattered wasn't convincing them, but living her choice. Once she stopped explaining, her joy in creating spoke louder. Over time, her family judged less. Literature gives us Hester Prynne in The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. Condemned by a harsh Puritan society, forced to wear the scarlet A as a mark of shame, Hester at first lived in disgrace. But instead of letting judgment destroy her, she accepted it as part of life. Quietly working, raising her child, helping the poor, her calmness, without excuses, made the community view her differently. The scarlet A, once a symbol of sin, became a symbol of ability. Hester proved something profound. When you stop being driven by the need to explain, outside judgment loses its power. Separating from judgment doesn't mean becoming indifferent or deaf to feedback. On the contrary, you can still listen, consider, but not let it define your worth. You discern what feedback helps you grow and what is just noise. View. If it's the latter, let it fall away like a drop of water on a lake's surface. Over time, you'll feel lighter. In today's world, social media makes judgment more pervasive than ever. A photo, an opinion, a choice, all may attract dozens, hundreds of comments. If you try to explain each, you will burn out. But if you learn to let go, focusing only on living authentically, judgment becomes just passing wind. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." To achieve that, you must free yourself from judgment's weight. Only when you no longer need to explain do you enter true freedom, the freedom that allows you to act as if nothing and no one can disturb you. By now, we are past the halfway point, and I am truly grateful for your presence. Before we continue, pause, breathe deeply, and remind yourself, your worth does not lie in others' eyes. If this resonates with you, I invite you to leave one word in the comments. Freedom. Just one word, but it can be a powerful reminder that no one can define you but yourself. And who knows, it may inspire someone who needs to hear it. Once you can separate from judgment, you realize not everyone will agree, not everyone will understand, but your peace remains. And then you learn to turn what once hurt you into material for creativity and growth, the next thing we'll explore. Number 5. Transform negative energy into creative power. Inner silence and freedom from judgment let you stand firm against external noise. But to truly live undisturbed, you must go further. Turn what once hurt you into new energy. The truth is, what troubles us most can also open the door to creativity. Carl Jung noted, "The shadow is not only something to reject, but a treasure trove of the soul." If approached rightly, anger can hide courage, sadness can hold emotional depth, and anxiety can awaken vivid imagination. The issue is not erasing negativity, but transforming it. For example, anger can be destructive, but channeled into creative action, it becomes fuel. An inventor may, out of frustration with inconvenience, create new solutions. A writer may, out of rage at injustice, produce works that awaken a generation. That explosive energy, redirected, becomes the spark of creation. Sadness, too. Countless poets, musicians, painters have turned tears into poems, melodies, colors. When someone paints their pain onto canvas, it is not just self-expression. It becomes a mirror for thousands of souls to see their own reflection and find empathy. Think of fire. It can burn a house down, but also fire clay into pottery. Negative energy is the same. Left unchecked, it destroys relationships, health, even self-trust. But placed in the creative kiln, observed, accepted, redirected, it becomes material for art, ideas, strong decisions. A young painter once wrote to the Channel about her journey. After a breakup, she fell into depression and disorientation. Instead of fleeing, she painted her pain. The works born from her darkest time became pieces that many resonated with and loved. Later, she said, "Without that pain, I would never have found my true voice." She proved, when you turn disturbance into creative material, what once made you fall can become wings, lifting you higher. Modern psychology calls this post-traumatic growth, growth after trauma. Research shows many people, after major crises like loss or failure, develop stronger creativity and empathy. The human brain is flexible. Facing negative emotions, if observed instead of suppressed, activates regions linked to creativity. In other words, discomfort does not only weaken, it can unlock hidden potential if you welcome and transform it. The key is to change your relationship with negative emotions. Instead of enemies, see them as messengers. Anger may tell you a boundary has been crossed. Sadness may remind you of neglected values. Even envy may signal a suppressed dream. If you listen, you'll see negativity doesn't come to destroy. It comes to show where light is needed. When practiced, transformation turns irritations into opportunities. Criticism can deepen your skill. Loneliness can be space to write, paint, meditate. Sadness can bring deeper empathy. As Jung emphasized, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Only by daring to face darkness do you find light. Transforming negativity doesn't make you numb, it makes you wiser. You don't have to pretend nothing bothers you, because you know how to turn disturbances into strength. And once you do, you live not only lighter, but also inspire others. You become like an artist who uses every color, even dark ones, to paint a complete picture. Number 6. Express with humor and lightness. There's something curious about life. Face adversity with a frown, and the problem doubles. But meet it with a smile, even a gentle laugh, and the situation loses half its power. Humor, in Jung's view, is not superficial joking. It is the mark of a matured consciousness, one that no longer fully identifies with the event, but steps back to see the bigger picture. Think back to the last time you were in an awkward spot, maybe in a meeting when you forgot an important number. The serious ego instantly wanted to justify, to prove reliability. But if you smiled and said lightly, "Perhaps that number just wanted to test my memory," the tension would dissolve. Instead of criticism, others might laugh, even respect your calmness. Humor is not avoidance, it is energy release. Surrounded by stress, humor acts as a counterbalance, relaxing the nervous system and restoring balance. Modern science shows laughter reduces cortisol, the stress hormone, and releases endorphins, creating comfort and clarity. In daily life, a perpetually serious person often makes the atmosphere heavy. Every remark, every small mistake becomes a big wound. In contrast, someone with humor easily turns difficulties into connections. When colleagues err, they don't scold, they add lightness so all can learn. When they stumble, they laugh, then move on. The serious ego shatters on impact, but humor is a cushion, softening every blow. I knew a woman in customer service, constantly facing complaints. At first, she came home drained, but then she learned to respond with humor. When a customer said, "Your service is terrible," instead of defending, she smiled. "Thank you for giving me another chance to improve. Today, I'll work twice as hard." That sincere yet light response calmed many. Over time, she became beloved by colleagues and inspiring to others. She turned a stressful environment into one radiating ease. Humor and lightness also heal the self. When you laugh at yourself, you escape harsh self-judgment. Instead of thinking, "I'm useless for making this mistake," you can whisper, "Oh, another funny chapter in my life's novel." Laughing at yourself frees you from complete identification with ego, granting freedom. But this humor is not shallow. It isn't joking to avoid feelings, but an expression of wisdom. True laughter comes when you're grounded inside, when you know one mistake doesn't define you, one criticism doesn't reduce you. That's why seasoned souls carry humor. They've weathered enough storms to realize nothing is worth losing their peace. You can practice this in small ways. When food is too salty, instead of anger, laugh. "At least we saved salt for next week." When late, instead of guilt, send a playful text. "Sorry, my clock decided to take a day off." Such small acts create a positive energy circle, making life lighter for you and others. Learning to express humor and lightness is learning not to let the serious ego dominate. That ego always wants to prove and is easily hurt. But when you smile, when you view events lightly, you rise above ego into a matured self. At that moment, nothing can disturb you. Not because life lacks challenges, but because you've found a way to stand firm in any challenge. If you believe humor and lightness truly help us through life's clashes, click like to support this video. And I want to hear from you. Have you ever used a witty remark or a smile to dissolve tension? Share your story in the comments. Your experience may inspire someone who needs a smile today. Number 7. Focus on what truly matters. When you nurture silence, detach from judgment, transform negativity, and meet life with humor, you realize another truth. Most disturbances are fragments. They are not worth draining your precious energy. The only way to act as if nothing bothers you is to focus on what truly matters. Carl Jung said, "A life gains meaning only when one finds the central symbol, the self, the deepest self, beyond masks and noise." When you focus your light on that center, petty troubles fade, like stars vanishing when the sun rises. Think of daily life. You may waste hours worrying about an unpleasant online comment, yet forget to call your parents. You may exhaust yourself proving you're right in a pointless argument, yet postpone a creative project you've longed to start. Petty things are like grains of sand in your eye. Annoying, yes, but they don't define your life's direction. What defines you are the values you choose to live and devote energy to. Steve Jobs exemplifies focusing on the core. In his final years, he said awareness of death taught him life's greatest lesson. Don't waste time living someone else's life. Jobs was criticized for perfectionism and pressure, but he never got lost in trivialities. Every decision, every ounce of energy revolved around one core, creating products that transformed human connection. By holding that lighthouse, he turned Apple from a garage startup into a global icon. Focusing on what matters isn't about doing more, it's about letting go. Jung noted, "The creation of something new is not accomplished by the intellect, but by the play instinct acting from inner necessity. The creative mind plays with the objects it loves. Creation, growth, and peace don't come from cramming more into life, but from choosing, letting inner necessity lead. Simplicity isn't poverty, it's choice. You choose love over hate, meaning over frivolity, enduring values over fleeting feelings. Only when you dare to let go do you make space for what matters most. In practice, this begins with small choices. In conflict, instead of fighting to win, ask, do I want to keep my ego or this relationship? At work, instead of checking your phone constantly, focus 1 to 2 hours on your most important task. Everything else follows. When life offers many paths, choose the one where your heart is present. That's how disturbances lose their hold. A doctor, constantly under pressure, faced urgent cases daily, yet she had one unbreakable rule. Dinner was always for family. No matter how tired, she returned home, sat with her children, shared a simple meal. Asked how she remained calm in such stress, she smiled. Because I know what matters most. The hospital will always be busy, but my children's childhood won't wait. That clarity spared her from drowning in professional chaos. And when you know what matters, you also learn to let go. Let go of the need to be liked by all. Let go of the habit of comparison. Let go of fleeting joys that don't nourish you long term. Each letting go is liberation. You shed small irritations to make space for greater values. When you do this, disturbances don't vanish because life is easier. They vanish in power because you've grown beyond them, wise enough to know life cannot be wasted in endless trivial battles. Instead, you build lasting things: love, creativity, kindness, and the journey of becoming your truest self. Someone who learns the art of acting as if nothing bothers them is like a wise captain on a stormy sea. He cannot control the wind, cannot calm the waves, but he can hold the helm steady, guided by his lighthouse. Every challenge, every clash, every judgment becomes a lesson leading him deeper into his essence, toward a freedom no one can take. And if you've ever asked, how can I remain serene in a turbulent world? The answer is not in avoiding hardship, but in transforming disturbances into growth. Then peace is no longer a distant goal to chase, but a state within you, accompanying you everywhere, in every circumstance. If what you've just heard stirs your heart and awakens a desire to live sturdily, share this video to spread strength to others. And don't forget to subscribe, to journey with us further, not into numbness, but into rediscovering inner strength, so you may walk freely, even as the world rages with storms. Have you ever wondered why some women, the more they give, the more distant men become, while others, without trying to prove anything, still make men pursue them endlessly? The difference does not lie in appearance, nor in superficial tricks, but in how they know how to regulate their energy, creating a silent yet powerful magnetism that men cannot ignore. Carl Jung once emphasized that in a man's unconscious, desire is only awakened when there is a challenge. When everything becomes too easy, the instinct to conquer falls asleep. But when a woman knows how to take one step back at the right moment, knows how to ignore in a subtle way, a man will feel compelled to step forward, to prove his worth, and more importantly, to become a better version of himself, to keep her. In today's video, we will uncover a secret few talk about. Ignoring the right way is not coldness or manipulation, but the art of awakening a man from his comfort zone, so that he pursues you with a desire and maturity he has never shown before. Are you ready to learn how to turn silence and distance into an irresistible magnetism that makes a man unable to sit still? Number 1. Men and the principle of not treasuring what is guaranteed. Have you ever fallen into this situation? At the beginning, he cared about every detail, always eager to call, to text, and to meet you. But after some time, when you gave him your whole heart, that initial enthusiasm began to fade. Texts were no longer frequent. Dates became rare. You started to wonder if you had done something wrong, or perhaps you were not good enough. The truth is, you were not wrong. The problem lies in an unconscious mechanism in men that Carl Jung emphasized. Men often fail to treasure what is considered guaranteed. When they believe you will always be there, no matter what they do or do not do, their mind assumes that position is safe. And once it is safe, they no longer feel the need to make an effort to maintain it. Jung once wrote, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." Herself and is not always available. It is a reminder that love must be nurtured daily from both sides. In many romance films, a man only truly realizes the value of love when he faces the fear of losing the woman beside him. Subtle, gentle, and self-possessed, ignoring acts like a mirror reflecting to him that if he does not treasure her, she can walk away at any moment. And it is at that moment he begins to pursue her with an unprecedented intensity. Neuroscience also explains this phenomenon. When facing uncertainty, the brain releases dopamine, the chemical that creates excitement and desire. The more certain something is, the easier it becomes boring. What carries the possibility of disappearing is what makes people want to hold on at all costs. Therefore, instead of trying to prove your love, sometimes you just need to let silence and distance speak. It is the right absence that makes him realize the value of your presence. Not all giving is appreciated. Often it is precisely what is not easy to have that makes love deeply etched in a man's heart. This is the first step of the art of ignoring the right way. It is not to hurt, but to awaken. Not to instill fear, but to help him mature in love. And when you understand this principle, you will see an interesting reversal. From you chasing after him, He will be the one trying in every way to hold on to you, to pursue you with a new sincerity. And that is the moment when a deep part of his unconscious is awakened, the warrior archetype. Number 2. The warrior archetype in the male psyche. Carl Jung believed that in the unconscious, every man holds the image of a warrior, the instinct that drives them to conquer, overcome challenges, and prove their worth. Since ancient times, men have been hunters, protectors, and fighters. It was precisely the difficulties and challenges that made them feel truly strong. Jung once said, "Man needs difficulties. They are necessary for health." In love, this warrior does not disappear. It shows in men initiating messages, planning dates, or trying to keep the woman they love. But if love becomes too easy, the warrior in them slowly falls asleep. When they no longer feel the need to make an effort, they lose passion and desire. One man once shared with the channel that in the early days of dating, he would wake up early to drive his girlfriend to work, even though the distance was nearly 20 kilometers. He always felt like a soldier, eager to do something to prove his love and presence. But years later, when she became too predictable, always taking the initiative and revolving around him, that drive gradually vanished. He still loved her, but love no longer gave him the feeling of having to strive, and in that ease, a vague emptiness began to form. That was the moment the warrior inside him fell asleep. Jung believed that this strength only truly comes alive when there is a goal and a challenge. A warrior without a battlefield will gradually weaken and lose himself. In love too, if a man no longer feels the need to be proactive in the relationship, he will become indifferent. In fact, many marriages and relationships stagnate simply because that proactivity has not been awakened for too long, leaving men loving out of habit rather than desire. Imagine an ancient warrior. If every battle were easy, with weak enemies and ready weapons, he would lose his skills. His muscles would wither. His spirit would cool. On the contrary, just one difficult challenge could immediately make him strong and full of fighting spirit again. In love, that challenge is not suffering, but the feeling that love is never guaranteed. The woman who maintains her mystery, who stands strong in her own world, is the one who awakens the warrior in men. This does not mean women must deliberately create difficulties or play psychological games. It is simply about living true to their values, keeping their independence and mystery. That independence makes men feel that love is not something they can neglect, but something they must continually guard. When a woman shines in her own world, she does not need to prove or fabricate scenarios. That natural strength is the greatest challenge and the most attractive thing to men. Jung emphasized that every genuine relationship requires awareness and effort. For men, the warrior archetype is the driving force that compels them to step forward. When this part is awakened, love is no longer a habit, but becomes a lifelong conquest. Therefore, remember that a little mystery, a little distance, and your steadfastness in your own world are the soil where the warrior in him rises. At that time, instead of cooling down, he will pursue you with all desire and sincerity, and love will remain as alive as in the beginning. Do you feel that the warrior in men is truly the flame that keeps love alive? Press like on this video as a reminder that men only truly live when there are challenges and effort in love. Number 3. distinguishing wrong ignoring and right ignoring. Many women, when hearing about the idea of ignoring men, often apply it in extreme ways. They disappear completely, cut off all contact, leaving no trace. But this method often does not spark desire. Instead, it makes a man assume he has been is no longer the absolute center, and a small fear forms that he may lose his place. That is when the warrior instinct awakens. He starts being more proactive, more attentive, and tries to prove his love. The difference is this: wrong ignoring is turning away, while right ignoring is stepping back one pace so that he has to step forward. It does not aim to hurt, but to create space for him to realize love is not automatic. Wrong ignoring makes a man close off, withdraw to protect his ego. Right ignoring makes him step out, strive to regain connection. One side is an ending, the other a rebirth. The important thing to understand is, this is not a power game, nor a manipulative tactic. It is a way of adjusting emotional presence, so love does not sink into boredom, and the unconscious does not assume you are a certainty. You do not withdraw to punish, but to help both sides recognize each other's value. A relationship only truly matures when both learn this lesson. The woman who keeps her own world, who does not dissolve completely into the man, will always be magnetic. At that time, he will always feel the need to step into the warrior role to protect and nurture the bond. Right ignoring, therefore, is the art of maintaining balance. It is like a dance, where you step back for him to step forward, and together you find the shared rhythm. In that rhythm, love becomes alive, powerful, and endlessly renewed. Number 4. Jung's principle of tension of opposites. When you ignore the right way, in fact, you are skillfully creating a space, and it is precisely that space that compels a man to step up to fill it. But for ignoring to become art, it must rest on a deeper foundation, the principle of tension of opposites that Carl Jung emphasized. Jung believed that people do not grow by eliminating opposites, but by learning to live in balance with them. In love, attraction does not arise from always agreeing or being together every moment. It arises from the interplay of two opposites, closeness yet personal space, giving yet knowing when to stop, to preserve value. It is precisely this near-far that keeps love from becoming dull, but always fresh and alive. In literature, we clearly see this in Pride and Prejudice. Elizabeth Bennet and Darcy did not come together through a smooth path. Their relationship was full of contradictions, pride and prejudice, feelings and reason. It was this tension that pulled them toward each other more powerfully. If Elizabeth had been too easy, or Darcy had been completely certain from the start, the conquest would have ended quickly and love would have lost its magnetism. This shows that in love, a little distance, a little not so easy, is the catalyst that fuels desire. In real life too, a couple that always agrees, always together, without any personal space, it may sound peaceful, but over time, the relationship becomes bland, because the man no longer feels the need to strive. On the contrary, another couple that keeps their own lives sometimes disagree, sometimes create gaps for the other to step into. These differences make love alive, and the man always feels he must pursue to keep his place. A young couple once shared that when they first dated, they nearly melted into each other. They texted for hours daily, always spent weekends together, until there was no room left for their individual lives. At first, they thought this was ideal love, but after a year, suffocation set in. He began to lose his drive to conquer, and she felt the relationship was dull. It was not until she decided to see him less and spend time volunteering, traveling with friends, and learning a new instrument that balance returned. He began to feel he had to make efforts to be present in her life again, and she rediscovered the richness within herself. It was this near-far, this give-hold dynamic that revived the magnetism they thought was lost. Jung called this the tension of opposites. If you always give non-stop, a man will think you are always there and gradually lose appreciation. If you disappear completely, he will see it as rejection and withdraw. But when you create just enough balance, sometimes close, sometimes stepping back, he will never feel absolutely safe. It is precisely the feeling of possibly losing you that makes him want to hold tightly, and his instinct to conquer is awakened. Remember that right ignoring is not coldness nor manipulation. It is the art of maintaining balance between two extremes, like a string, too slack and no sound, too tight and it breaks. Only when kept at the right tension does it create music. Love is the same. When you keep some mystery, some distance, while still giving enough presence, you create the perfect tension for love to resonate. In thousands of relationships fading due to predictability, only a few women are wise enough to understand that love needs tension of opposites to remain alive. If you believe that the balance between closeness and distance is the key to lasting love, leave a comment. I choose to keep balance. As a reminder to yourself that love is only truly beautiful when both are tested and both grow. And that is when a man pursues you in a way he never has before. Jung once wrote, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." When two people meet in love, it is tension of opposites that creates transformation. And when you know how to ignore the right way, not only is the man's instinct to conquer awakened, but you too become a deeper, freer but deeper. Fear of losing his place in your world. And from this unease, the warrior archetype within him rises. Picture a man used to his girlfriend handling everything, booking dinner tables, reminding him of appointments, planning birthdays. He comfortably plays the receiver. But one day, she no longer does that. She dedicates time to her own projects, travels with friends, lets him manage himself. At first, he feels disappointed, but soon he starts taking initiative, making reservations, preparing surprises, planning for them. Not because he fears losing love, but because he wants to reclaim the proactive role he had lost. Thus, the emotional deficit is not a power game. It is not a way to make men cling out of fear, but a way to awaken their need to affirm themselves. A warrior cannot sit idle when his role is shaken. He must fight to prove he deserves his place, that he is still important in your heart. In long-term marriages, this is even clearer. Many husbands grow indifferent, not because they stop loving, but because they no longer feel necessary. When a wife holds back some emotions for herself, when she no longer does everything for him, he begins to shift. He takes more part in the family, finds ways to express love, and seeks recognition. That small deficit is the driving force for him to return to the role his unconscious craves. Protector, co-builder, worthy man. Jung believed that every relationship requires awakening, meaning that in love, if everything is too safe and predictable, men will gradually neglect it. It is the small emotional gaps that force him out of his comfort zone to act. And when he does, love is no longer just a habit, but a conscious choice. He decides to keep you in the most important place of his heart. That is also when you see a clear difference. Instead of you chasing and clinging, he becomes the one who steps forward, finding every way to prove his presence. And this reversal is the clearest evidence of the power of ignoring the right way, making him pursue you as never before, with passion and maturity. Number 6. Practical application. 5 steps to ignoring the right way. After understanding the principle of tension of opposites and the power of creating an emotional deficit, the natural question is, how can you apply it daily in a subtle and sustainable way? Because if theory remains only in awareness, love will hardly change. You need concrete actions, small but steady steps, so you can both maintain dignity and skillfully awaken the warrior instinct in men. And once these steps become part of daily rhythm, you will see love not only revived, but transformed into a new journey, where he never stops pursuing to keep you. Step 1. Gradually reduce emotional availability. One mistake that makes women lose magnetism is always reacting instantly, always showing availability in every situation. Ignoring the right way does not start with disappearance, but by reducing haste. It is like a piece of music. If the melody is all climax, the listener quickly tires. It is the pauses, the silent notes, that give music depth. Love, too, when you are less immediate in reactions, men feel the absence and yearn to fill it. Instead of replying to texts immediately, give yourself private time, then respond gently. Instead of pouring all energy into pleasing him, choose a more balanced approach. This is the starting point for him to stop assuming you are always there and begin learning to take initiative. Step 2. Redirect energy towards self-development. Carl Jung stressed that a person only becomes whole when they return to their true self. In love, many women lose themselves by pouring all energy into men, and at that point, they also lose their deepest allure. Right ignoring is not just stepping back in love, but stepping forward toward yourself. Invest in learning, experiences, health, and other social connections. When you live fully for yourself, you become rich and colorful, and men see a vibrant world they must enter with all effort. Step 3. Maintain an element of mystery. Women often think lasting love requires sharing everything. But the truth is, it is the unknown spaces that keep attraction alive. Jung said the unconscious is filled with undecoded symbols, and it is precisely this mystery that stimulates imagination. In practice, mystery is not hiding or pretending, but not having to explain everything, not exposing all feelings instantly. Let men have the chance to discover you themselves. Remember, a good book never reveals its ending up front. The reader is drawn in because there are layers to explore. A woman is the same. When you keep part of yourself, a man never feels absolutely safe, and that drives him to keep pursuing. Step 4. Preserve dignity and composure. Right ignoring loses value if it becomes sulking or manipulation. The true art lies in composure and dignity. When you choose silence or step back, do it with calm energy, without resentment, without drama. Men are more sensitive to energy than you think. Distance filled with resentment only makes him defensive. But calm steadfastness, like a mountain standing tall, makes him self-reflect and realize he must step up to be worthy. This also protects you, not losing dignity through impulsive reactions, but nurturing inner strength. And it is precisely that strength which sparks the strongest desire to conquer in men. Step 5. Persevere in sustaining change. The hardest part is not starting, but sustaining. Many women, after applying right ignoring, receive renewed attention from men, but soon fall back into old patterns, always available, always revolving around him. And so, the cycle repeats. Right ignoring only works when it becomes a long-term lifestyle, a balance between loving him and loving yourself. Perseverance is the key for men to understand that this love must be nurtured continuously, that his place is never guaranteed. One woman shared that she used to let her boyfriend decide everything, where to eat, weekend plans, even vacations. When she realized that made him passive, she changed. She started creating her own choices, and immediately he paid more attention, becoming proactive again. But the important part was not his initial reaction, but her perseverance in maintaining the new rhythm. Even when he became attentive again, she did not return to old habits of total dependence. She kept her independence. This consistency made him realize her change was not temporary, and if he wanted to keep the relationship, he too had to sustain long-term effort. Thanks to that, their love not only revived, but became more mature and lasting. These 5 steps are not tricks to control men, but a journey for you to become your fullest, most magnetic self. Right ignoring is not to create fear, but to awaken true desire. When you reduce constant availability, focus on yourself, maintain mystery, remain composed and persevere, you not only renew love, but create a space where men must grow up. And in that space, you will see a beautiful reversal. He no longer sits idle in safety, but steps out, pursuing you with passion and maturity he never had before. Among these 5 steps of right ignoring, surely each person finds some easy to apply, but also some that require perseverance and more challenge. Which step do you think would be hardest for you? Share in the comments so we can exchange, learn, and support each other on this journey. Number 7. The psychological effect on men. When women shift their energy. When a woman changes how she gives attention and energy, it not only makes a man notice different behaviors on the surface, but also touches his deeper unconscious. He starts feeling a bit uneasy, not because he loses control, but because he realizes he is no longer the absolute center. This new space forces him to step out of passivity, to seek connection, to prove his love, to reaffirm he still has an important place in your world. This change does not happen in a single moment, but like a chain of psychological reactions. At first, he feels surprised when realizing you no longer give him all your attention. Then, curiosity arises, pushing him to observe and find out what changed. Gradually, a strong urge forms to make an effort to prove he deserves love. And at that point, thanks to your quiet adjustment, he shifts from passive recipient to active giver. One man shared about his girlfriend. Before, she often turned down big career opportunities just to have more time with him. Every choice revolved around their love and his life. But when she dared to take on a challenging project and poured herself into her career, the whole picture changed. He realized that if he stayed passive, she still had a vibrant world to live in without him. That determination forced him to step up, no longer just present, but more active, more engaged. Their love, as a result, was no longer easy familiarity, but a journey where both grew. When women keep independence, mystery, and dignity, they not only protect their hearts, but also push men to mature in love. Think of love as a fire. If you constantly throw in wood, it may flare up too quickly and then die out. But if you add in moderation at the right times, leaving space for it to breathe, it burns steadily and lastingly. Right ignoring is the same skillful adjustment, so the flame of love does not die, but stays warm, making men step toward you, pursuing you with all passion and maturity. Jungian psychology calls this an energy shift in the unconscious, meaning love always requires balance between two sides. When one changes, the other must change too. If a woman no longer revolves around a man constantly, he is forced to be more proactive to keep the bond. The important thing is, this change is not manipulation, but a way for a woman to assert her value. She does not use coldness to punish, but steadiness to remind. Love lasts only when both make effort. Carl Jung once wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." When a woman dares to return to her true self, she not only finds her own worth, but also creates a natural magnetism that compels a man to rise. He does not chase out of fear of losing her, but because he wants to be present in the radiant, vibrant world she created. And at that moment, love enters a more mature phase. No longer dependency, but mutual magnetism, where both grow and affirm themselves. What you need to remember is, the psychological effect of women shifting energy does not come from tricks, but from the truth that she has recentered her life. When you stop making men your only source of life, you become an independent universe. And men, unconsciously, will be drawn toward that universe, not by your lack, but by your abundance. And that is the silent power of ignoring the right way, not vanishing to scare him, but pulling energy back to become radiant and alive. At that moment, the man cannot sit still, but must step forward toward you, not to possess, but to be worthy of walking beside you. A woman who knows how to ignore the right way is not cold nor manipulative. She is someone who knows her own rhythm, when to step forward, when to step back, so love never becomes easy comfort, but always alive. What makes her different is not trying to control men, but how she redefines her own value, standing firm in her world, so that anyone who wants to stay must make an effort and grow with her. And if you have ever wondered, how can I make a man pursue me with all his desire? The answer does not lie in endless giving, but in knowing when to stop, keeping your dignity and your own light. When you do that, love is no longer a guessing game, but becomes a journey where he must step up, prove himself, and be worthy. If you see yourself in what you just heard, share this video so other women can awaken and reclaim their power. Press subscribe to continue this journey with us, because the path with Jung does not end at love, but is the journey of becoming the most beautiful, magnetic version of yourself.